Hello and welcome to Drilling Insight. I'm Jeremy Verdusco, host and editor of National Driller magazine. I'm joined today by drilling trainer, National Driller writer, and co-host Brock Yordy. How's it going, Brock?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing, Jeremy?
You know, I'm pretty good today. I'm pretty good. So for this episode, we're skipping the guests and going rogue. Brock and I have put Drilling Insight out for months, and over that time, we've touched here and there on who we are. But today, we're going to get into detail. We'll talk a little bit about how we got to where we are, what we hope to accomplish with this show, and what we see coming up for both drilling and for National Driller. So, Brock, first question to you. Did you choose the drilling industry or did it choose you?
I grew up in this industry. There's pictures of me sitting on the back of, the pickup truck watching my father drill. I grew up in a small Southwest Michigan town with, we had homes out in the country, and I had an older brother and a younger brother. My older brother was 10 years older than me. So I was the middle child that was going to do anything but drilling. And I did. I worked at a hardware store, and I baled hay, and I rode horses in the county fair and 4-H. And I helped whenever I needed to, and would love the family business, but it was not anything that I wanted to be part of. And in '99, as I graduated, I was looking at colleges, and I didn't get into the program I wanted to. And I told my dad I was going to do community college and wanted a job, and he hired me, and it clicked, and I loved it, and I was having fun. And then the housing market crashed, and I was doing the books, and from my business classes, I said, Dad, you can't have 3 sons in the company, multiple employees right now with what's happening in Michigan. Michigan was going from 40,000 water wells a year to that year, I think we hit 37, and then it cut again to 30, and then, hovered in the upper teens, low 20s for many years. So I went to college, and I decided I was going to study theater and never do drilling again. I'm going to go off to Hollywood. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to be fun. And in the middle of it,
and we see how well that worked out.
And I decided to take an internship, and I had 2 choices. One in the entertainment industry with a major studio doing some stuff with a series called Deadwood, and it wasn't paid. And Facebook, I reached out to some guys on Facebook, and they were like, do not come here. And I still, with my horse background, I think I'd have had a different experience maybe, but Bayreuth offered me an internship. Middle of the internship, I got hired, and the industry chose me, and I'm very thankful, and I love it. So Jeremy, back to you on that same question. Did you choose the magazine, the industry, or did it choose you?
Well, I've had kind of an interest in words, pretty much as long as I can remember. Going back to my teen years, I even have a clip of a poem that I got published when I was maybe 14. So, I've had an interest in words for a long time. I went to Michigan State University for journalism, and I worked in daily newspapers for, almost 15, 16 years in various jobs, editing jobs, page layout. I would do things like write headlines and check stories to make sure they were accurate, that kind of thing. I've also worked as a reporter, so many in our audience have seen stories that I've written for the magazine. So there's that. But really, as far as magazines chose me. A former colleague reached out, and that's how I came to join National Driller 8 years ago. And been here ever since. I found it to be a pretty great and welcoming industry, and certainly enjoy covering it, going to the shows, meeting the people, and that's how we got to here. So Brock, let's talk about the show a little bit. What is your case for why people should tune in? I mean, what's the purpose of the show here?
Uh, I think our industry likes a lot of different ways of solving the same problem. So some people can Google and find what they're looking for. Some people will open up past issues. I've seen online where a gentleman will say, I have every copy of National Driller since 1994. And that is a resource library for me. And then we got people that have windshield time and like to interact and listen to podcasts. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of great video interviews, and it's kind of a next platform. Gen Xers, we were a generation of a lot of change, from TV to cable television, from print news to blogs, and the internet for our information versus encyclopedias. And our millennials out there that are kicking butt, and our Gen Zs, and now our alphas coming in, millennials, they call the watcher generation. So we got a lot of good people out there that like to watch. They like to contribute. I think this is fun because we get to interview great people. We get to share knowledge. I get to spend more time with my friend, who is also my editor, and whatnot. And it's we need more of this platform for this industry. So I think the great thing is getting to share knowledge, getting to share perspectives, and get to do it with industry knowledgeable people that we may not usually get the chance to talk to.
Mm-hmm. And so, from my perspective, I think it's going to be valuable to talk to, all different facets of the industry, everyone from, scientists and sanitarians to the drillers themselves, suppliers, manufacturers, the whole gamut. And I'm pretty interested in the perspective that all of these folks can bring.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the more ways we can pass on knowledge, the better. And I guess getting the chance to do this with you, Jeremy, and that National Driller and BMP have allowed this platform to happen. My question to you, Driller just became all digital, right? And we're changing everything up again. So now we don't have all of these magazines we can grab. How is that changing for you? What are we going to see?
So, as the audience knows, we've gone all digital. I've got to say we have gotten some criticism, and we've taken that and tried to take it to heart. Personally, I enjoy the digital transition. I've been in media for 20 plus years now. This is, believe it or not, the first time I've worked for an all digital publication. There's always been a companion print edition. I get that people like paper magazines. I really do. I think a lot of you mentioned Gen Y a minute ago. I think a lot of younger people prefer to get stuff on their mobile device, an iPad or whatever. Personally, I'm 47 now, and I haven't had a paper magazine in my hand other than my magazine, which I get at the office, for quite some time, and I read a lot of them on my iPad. That said, I know there are a lot of readers out there that definitely prefer the paper copy. I've heard more than once that folks like to page through it, or as you said, keep issues around for years. But we're trying to make the best of the technology and what we have to offer going forward. And this podcast and video show, that's part of it. We want to have different avenues for people to get the information from us. So whether it's the website or if you haven't signed up for the digital edition, we have that as well. So podcasts, this video program, we're working hard to kind of beef up some of the offerings we have. And I hope people give those a chance, people in particular that miss the print edition. So, moving on, Brock, you like me, you've worked in your industry for a while. Based on what you've seen so far, and what changes should the audience expect to get ready for in the next 10 years or so?
There's a lot of focus on safety, and I write about safety, and part of that comes from we're not recruiting as good as we can. So, in unsafe culture, when we lose a knowledgeable, driller assistant pump tech to a dumb choice, a bad mistake, something that shouldn't have happened, so all focus on our industry right now is that we're unsafe. And so that's something that we have to do better at. It's something that the next 10 years is going to define. OSHA sees us in many different lights right now. We're seeing where big corporations are expecting our TRIRs to be below, 1.5, where it was 2 or 3. Mm. Beyond that, the next 10 years, we're going to see our population jump to 9 billion people. 9 billion. We're heading towards that 10.5 billion, which has been the discussion of tipping point. Mm-hmm. So drilling, exploration, geotechnical, it's all very important because we discover the unknown.
Yeah,
that's the big thing for the next 10 years, and if we can do it smarter, safer, and recruit, we'll be okay. But that's what we have to get to. Same question, where do you see the publication in the next 10 years? Where do we go from here? We talked a little bit about digital. If the magazine wasn't this big, gorgeous, glossy edition that you had created, when you look at it from even in the late 2000s where it was still matte and it became this flashy, it's a legendary, anybody wants to pick this magazine up because it's cool, it's big, the photos are there, it's not like just grabbing the thing in the dentist office. So how do we take that to the digital platform? Where do you see us going in 10 years, Jeremy?
So, I've been pretty lucky to be able to take on a brand like this and to, really be able to run with it. A lot of the brands under the BMP umbrella are, they're small, very small niche publications like National Driller. And so they can develop over time a very close relationship with the readers, their audience, the folks at the trade shows out there that read the magazine and know the writers from their pages. And I think that's really the continued goal, whether it's 5 years or 10 years into the future, is to continue to be that kind of that nexus where people who want to buy a rig or people that want to get information about geotech or geothermal can turn to us, and the companies that want to sell to those folks can turn to us. So it sounds I don't know, it sounds like any other media model. We have advertisers. We like to show our readers to those advertisers. But it's, as capitalistic as that sounds, it really means that our audience has a place. They have a place to go where they can learn. They can find out about the new technologies. They can be reminded about, safety and PPE, which, a lot of folks need reminding on. They can find out the latest, news about this company or that. So it's really the platform aspect that we want to continue. We're looking at ourselves as a platform, a place for drillers to go, and not just a magazine, not just a glossy that people can take their hands on, but something that they can still rely on to get information or find a drilling job or whatever relationship they've had with the brand in the past. So that's something that we just want to continue. So moving on, Brock, what are you most passionate about when it comes to the industry and National Driller? Like what drives you to do all of these videos and keep coming back and writing for us?
I like to have my pictures on hardcover, but no, I'm just kidding. I do love the paperback magazine, but I also love the future. So it's been fun to be part of the print, and I'm really excited about the digital and all of this. But I had this universe of, this is the way we drill a well, this is the way we tech something, from little old Southwest Michigan, Marcellus, Michigan. And we had this bubble of some other drillers, maybe the state association, and some good information, some not so good information, some really hard ways to do simple tasks. And I got this opportunity to intern for Bayreuth, and I spent an entire summer traveling, watching other drillers, watching other companies, watching other disciplines, seeing all of these great aspects of the industry, from good, bad, and when I got really full to do was go on jobs that were people learn and invaluable to me, and I still talk to them today, and I still make new gurus and mentors that I ask more questions. I think sometimes they just send me to voicemail when they're like, hey Brock, I know it's going to take us 2 hours to get through this conversation, but being part of the magazine, being part of Ask Brock, I get to share it. So Brian Coles and Jeff Blinn and some of the first guys that I worked a lot with, I would get on a conference call with our customer and them, and I would ask the basic questions of what was happening, because I was the new guy and I just knew a handful of questions. And then I would listen to the discovery questions that Brian and Jeff would ask. And I had this notebook and I would write these questions down. And then the next time we'd get on a call, I'd have those questions plus my basic questions. And what I realized was the playbook for being successful in this industry isn't there, and Bob Brown, a great mentor of mine for business development, he goes, Brock, if it isn't written down, it never happened. So I only wrote the first article, back in 13 or 14 on mining, because Bob was like, we should write this story. And I'm working for this big corporation, so it was impossible to just get it peer reviewed and go, that I had to make sure that I wasn't incriminating the company or anything. And it was a hard task. And I'm not a classically trained writer. I'm a BSer, an actor, improv, directing, that stuff's fun, but writing isn't easy. But I wanted to be able to tell those stories and pass those stories on. And then being able to get to do this and ask Brock is just the next step. And people go, so you think you're an expert? And I go, no, but I got a lot of experts that I can ask upon. And when you ask those men and women, they don't go, we're not experts, we just love this industry. So I love this industry, and instead of keeping everything right here, I wanna share every cool nugget that I find. And that's why I like being here. That's what's fun about it. And I appreciate you, Jeremy, for making me look smart on paper. And that's to everybody out there. If you get a great story, you don't have to be a classically trained writer. You don't have to be the guru of writing. You just need to be able to tell your story, and Jeremy can make you look great. And he's easygoing. He only calls me an idiot 7 to 12 times a month instead of the 30 to 40. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't do any of that. He's fantastic at getting the best out of you. He just wants the information. He'll help you wordsmith.
So before we wrap up, I did want to go through a couple of housekeeping items. As we mentioned, Brock breaks off little bits of industry knowledge in video form in National Driller's Ask Brock web series. So if you have questions for Brock, you can send an email to brock@globaldrilltraining.com. That's pretty easy to remember, and you can see his lovely Ask Brock logo right behind him there today. So these drilling insight videos published to nationaldriller.com, and you can also find an audio-only podcast version there and on Apple Podcasts. So look us up and tap that subscribe button. And as we touched on here, if you're looking at working on an interesting project, or if you have industry wisdom to share, we'd love to hear from you. Go to nationaldriller.com/contact us. Send me an email to be considered for a guest spot on Drilling Insight, or to otherwise submit to National Driller. We love to tell the drillers' story, so it's nice to hear from drillers themselves. So with that, we'll wrap up today's episode. Brock, aside from the pages of National Driller, where can the audience find out more about you?
Stop me at any of the conventions I'm at, and let's just talk and catch up, because person to person, even if we got to stand 6 feet apart, is always the most fun, because I love hearing the passion and the great things that our industry does. You can find me on LinkedIn. Groundwater Professionals Facebook page is a great place to catch up, and there's a lot of great past presidents of NGWA on there. And Brock at globaldrilltraining.com. It's a quick way. And then the pages of Driller, obviously, I'm there. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and I try to reply.
Great. And as mentioned, you can reach me through the contact page on nationaldriller.com. And don't forget to check our website for the latest industry news and industry stories. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Until next time, this is Drilling Insight.